and video this for you guys. This is just a turkey chili that I'm gonna make super easy. And then I'm gonna show you how to calculate your macros too while you're doing it. So we're gonna go ahead and start with 1 pound of ground turkey. Best thing to do when you're making all of this is to write down your nutrition. But of course, after this video, you will have your macronutrient breakdown. So what you need from here, nutrition facts, we're gonna go ahead. So 4 ounces is the serving. There are 4 servings in this 1 pound, okay? So we're gonna do 4 ounce times 4 servings. And then you're gonna get your calorie count. That's gonna be, we're gonna do 160 here, 160. Fat is gonna be 8 grams, carbs, 0, protein, 22, okay? So this is how you start like calculating your macros. If you're somebody that is like new to calculating and trying to figure out how to do this on your own, this is what you would do. So I do not have any oil in here right now, so I'm gonna grab some olive oil really quick. Okay, and then we're gonna put just about a tablespoon of olive oil in here just to moisturize the pan. And then because you are doing macro counts, you can go ahead and put that in there because olive oil does have calories. So olive oil, 1 tablespoon. So I'm just putting that there because the serving size is 1 tablespoon and I will worry about the numbers later. So the pan is already hot. And we're going to go ahead and put our ground turkey in here. And I'm recording this too because a lot of times I do get asked like, what do I make for myself? And sometimes I'm not all that great at videoing. So this is a good opportunity for me to do that. And I have finally, I don't know why, I didn't realize YouTube saves these videos for me. So this is a good thing. Should start off here. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We got our ground turkey. We're gonna go ahead and mix it up with the olive oil. And then we're gonna put this, I have it like on a 2, close to a 3 on my stove right now so that it can cook but not fully cook. And then to make things easy, because I really love things to be like super simple, I have canned goods. Now, I love canned goods because they're already stored. Like for this example, it's a vegetable. You get your fiber in, you get variety in, but you also get the things you need for chili. So I have a whole thing of sweet corn. I have diced tomatoes with green chilies. Now this is really good. And then I have 1 can of pinto beans. And then 1 large can of black beans. So this is actually, I don't normally buy this large one. So this is a pound and 11 ounces of black beans. So this is really good. But also, again, since I have everything in a can, it's going to be really easy to measure out. So we're going to go ahead and drain these guys. I'm going to go ahead and get this. So we're going to drain everything. Now, I like my chili to, personally, even though I live in Texas, I don't really like chili from a can, like without beans. I don't know. I've always liked chili with beans. And honestly, I lived off of canned chili for a long time without realizing that I could make my own like chili. So yeah, I am making chili with beans, but like I said, beans are really good, 1, but 2, I don't know, there's just so much flavor to these. So like I said, we've got our diced chilies and tomatoes. But so what I'm gonna do, the overall meal is gonna be chili cheese fries. Okay, so I already have my fries in the oven. They're cooking right now because they were frozen fries. They were They're crinkle cut fries, but this is something to like make it kid friendly as well because I do have small children. And also too, even though I like to like stay on the healthier side, my husband really likes like kind of like splurgy food like this. So this is another reason too that I like making this chili. But I'm also making the chili cheese fries because it's just something like it's one of those like bad meals, if you will, but you can make a healthier version where it has more protein in it. You can control the carbs with the fries, so how many fries you have, and then you can control the cheese and the sour cream at the end. So now we're gonna get our black beans. Now for our beans, what I normally do is drain the beans, one. And then two, I do normally rinse out my beans. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave the camera just for a second. What I'm gonna do is take the cans and let water run through my cans of beans and then drain it again. Okay, and it's just for the beans, so I'll be right back. Okay, and I did drain it all pretty much at the sink, so those are done. Now the only like fresh ingredient that we're gonna need today is an onion. So we're gonna go ahead and get this onion chopped up. So I like to cut off the tops, take off the skin. And then just so you know, for an onion, if you have like a grocery app, or you just kind of look up one, so this is a yellow onion. So we'll just look up one yellow onion. I'm gonna use this whole thing, by the way. And then because for the sake of macros, I'm gonna go ahead and get my scale and measure the onion really quick. Alright, so we've got our scale. Now because I don't want to put my onion on the scale, I'm going to go ahead and measure this Pyrex. Go ahead and zero it out. Now you're going to put your onion on there. Okay, so we got an 8.8 ounce onion. So onion, 8.8 ounce. So you can always look up like the macro count on the internet, or like I said, go to your grocery app and find the nutrient label through the grocery app. We're gonna dump this and I'm gonna toss the skin. Okay, and then something I like to do, which I don't know if people know this was something like in my home when I grew up. I like to slice. I know this probably looks scary to like a viewer, like, what are you doing? So I have lines going across and then I turned it and then I'm gonna cut down here. I just thought this was interesting. My husband didn't know that you could do this, but you make pretty much cubes of onion when you cut it like that. Instead of having to like cut the onion fully, you can just shortcut it. And then once you get to a point where it doesn't have the lines anymore, cut further down. And of course, y'all, be careful, because you don't want to cut your finger or your hand, because I have done that before. But this just makes the process so much easier. So I already have my ground turkey in here. I haven't put any seasoning in it. I'm just going ahead and cutting my onion because I like to cook the onion with the meat first. And then at the end, it's gonna get a little more, the chunks are gonna get a little bigger. But here you go. It's not about the appearance, y'all. It's just about the nutrition at the end of the day. This is kind of tough, so I'm not gonna put that in there. Okay, so now we've got our onions and our ground turkey inside. So we're gonna go ahead and cook this. I'm gonna turn this up a little more just to cook it a little faster. And then what I'm gonna do too is go ahead and put my diced tomatoes and chili inside. Because I like to cook this and like dehydrate it a little bit. Dehydrate the veggies with the meat before I cook the meat. All right, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna wash my hands really quick, toss this out, and then I'm gonna get our spices. Okay, so we're gonna stir this a little bit. Okay, chili is all about spices, so we gotta make sure that we have all the spices that we need. So my go-to spices are garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, salt, and chili powder. And then I also like to cook, like add some bone broth, but I don't actually have like the liquid broth. I have beef seasoning, beef bone broth seasoning, so I'll show you. So we've got garlic powder, and yes, I use garlic powder a lot, which is why I have a big bottle. Onion powder, salt, just a regular pepper. So this, it's called caldo de res, but it's beef bouillon. That's what it is, okay? So that was just hard for me to translate because I was like, I know it's caldo, but okay. So we got that, and then we have our, oops, making a mess here. We're working on a whim, y'all, because sometimes, you know, things aren't perfect all the time, and you just gotta roll with it. Let's see. Where is my chili powder? Do I have any? Alright. Well, I do not actually. Haha, I do. I do have it. Chili powder. Okay. I was gonna say, I know I have some. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead. Okay, so when it comes to seasoning things, the number one rule that I have come to find is something that I've heard on a cooking show, and it literally said add more salt than you would so that you can get like the restaurant flavor. So I am not very generous with seasoning, so it's the same thing with seasoning too. Season it the way, so put what you think is good seasoning wise. So if you are very like sparingly like seasoning things and you taste food and it's like, this isn't as good as I wanted it to be, or the flavor isn't as good, which is how my food always turned out, I wasn't seasoning it enough, you do twice as much as what you normally would think. So chili powder, you're only supposed to do just a tad, and I do just a tad because I do have children, so I don't want it to be too spicy. Now, when it comes to the onion powder, we're gonna do, I just add a little bit. So usually you go lightly and then just a couple more sprinkles more, because like I said, that quote that I heard from a cooking show, I was just like mind blown, because I had always like made food, and then I was like, why doesn't it taste good? Like you can kind of smell the flavor, but I'm not like tasting the flavor. So once I heard that, I was like, oh, that might be what's happening. So if you notice, I like stop when I think my normal hand is supposed to stop, and then I add just a little more. And then a tad more. And so I did go lightly on the salt just because I do have beef bouillon. And I like to add about a tablespoon of this. So not a full tablespoon. This is probably about 3/4 of a tablespoon. Sprinkle it on there. I might add a full tablespoon. Because we have our beef bouillon, which is salty, and then we also have our salt in there as well. So now we're just gonna go ahead and let this kind of chill out for a minute. So another thing too, I am gonna add water to this. So now we have to think. So I've added salt and beef bouillon. So you're probably thinking that might be a little salty. There's gonna be water added to this. And then we also have to add our beans and our corn in still, okay? So it looks a little scary. I promise you, it's pretty good. So we're gonna add 1 more tablespoon of beef bouillon because 1 tablespoon makes 2 cups of bouillon, round about 2 cups. So usually I add about 4 cups of water to my chili to take into account the beans and the extra things that I add in there, and to let it simmer for a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and turn up this heat here. Now I'm just gonna show you a quick flash of this because it looks delicious. If you can't see it here, we've got our tomatoes, diced tomatoes, onions, and our ground turkey in here. And then we're just mixing it all together. And now I might have to take a pause because my kids are watching their afternoon show. There we go. No, not a pause. Okay, so they're having fun watching their show. So this is how things get done, y'all. If you got kids and you're trying to make food, just put on a show while you make your food. So we've got our salt. Now we're putting our spices all back because, you know, I like to clean. I do like to clean when I'm cooking because I hate cleaning after. It is annoying to me when things are not put up as you go. Okay, we're gonna put this. So I'm not gonna cut anymore, so I'm gonna go ahead, like I said, I'm cleaning up as I'm cooking. And then, like I said, I was gonna make chili cheese fries tonight. That's like the whole thing. I use these Ore-Ida Crispy Ore-Ida. I don't really know the brand name. Crispy Crinkles. And then we're gonna go ahead, like I said, for the sake of macros, we're gonna get the nutrition packs so that when we make our plates, we can be mindful of what we're eating. So we're gonna go ahead while this is cooking. This is a good time to go ahead and get your nutrition facts that you need. So fries, you've got a serving size is 3 ounces, 84 grams / 84 grams. And that serving size is going to be 4.5 grams of fat. Now this is where what you would do based off of the serving size. Say for example you get 6 ounces or 8 ounces, you would do the math for that, okay? For that serving size. So you have 3 ounces. If you were to eat 6 ounces, you would just double the fat at the end of it all. Double the carbs, double the protein. So carbs here is 19 grams, and then protein, you get 2 grams. Okay? So that is all we need. The 3 ounces is the measuring, the serving, or you can go by grams because you can always change your scale to grams, ounces, fluid ounces, whatever you need it to be, okay? So this is when a scale is important. Okay, we're gonna clean up, like I said. that we can have more space, which is always important for space. And yeah, little cookie balls, cookies for dessert. All right, so now we are cooking here with this. Ooh, our fries are done. So we're cooking the meat. Everything is cooking good. Let me check these fries. Okay. I'm gonna cook those a little longer. So now we're gonna go ahead and add in our beans. So we've got all of our black beans. All right, timer is done. We've got our pinto beans. And then we've got our corn. Okay, and now, easy cleanup since they're in cans, throw it away. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and stir this. So I'm gonna add another about 5 minutes to my fries, because I did put quite a bit of fries on there. Okay. And now we're cooking. Here we go. We're mixing all of our stuff up. And now the last thing that we need to add is our water. So now you have your base seasonings all getting mixed up inside. I'm gonna drive myself crazy with this spoon. Okay, so now I have that. Now we're gonna get four cups of water. Also, remember you are measuring by fluid ounces. There you go. So we've got our 4 cups of water here. And now what we're gonna do is stir everything together. And we're gonna turn this, I've got it on a 5 here. We're gonna put a top on. And we're just going to let this cook, okay? Now we've got about a few minutes on our fries. Now what we can do is do a little bit of macro calculating. So we had, let me go ahead and move this a tad. This is where you can find the time. Sorry. You can find the time to do your macros because it is tough. Oh, and I threw away my cans. Awesome. Totally forgot to write those down. So let's go ahead. Sometimes, y'all, it's not always pretty when you're trying to calculate things, which is why it's usually easier to get it's easier to get like your recipes online when somebody has already done the calculations for you. But if you are somebody that is trying to figure out like how to do the math for it all, this is how you would do it. So the one thing that we didn't add here is going to be our beef bouillon. So I did 2 tablespoons. This one is 1 teaspoon. So we're gonna do 1 teaspoon, so beef bouillon. Beef bouillon, and it has, this is the nitty gritty part. This is the part that some people are just like, this is annoying. And don't get me wrong, it is kind of annoying, But once you get an idea of like what you're making, how much it is over time, things will get easier. So calories is 5 calories for, okay, so this serving size is 3 teaspoons, so 3 grams. Sorry, 3/4 of a teaspoon or 3 grams. Calories is 5. We got carb less than 1. So fat, let's see, does it even have any fat? So 0, 0, protein 0. So everything is 0 here, pretty much. Carb 0, protein 0, because it's a seasoning. But it has your nutrition facts on there. Unlike other seasonings, most seasonings don't have nutrition facts. It just has, because there's no calorie or anything to it, it's just a seasoning. So when you are seasoning any of your food, just know when you get to like garlic powder, onion powder, chili powder, cumin, things like that, no nutrition label, because there are no calories. It is simply a seasoning. So don't ever feel bad, or like, I'm just showing you examples. Don't ever feel guilty for seasoning your food, because the goal is, when you're like eating, is that you have food that tastes good. You don't want food that's bland. So season all you want, okay? Sodium too, when it comes to salt, it does have nutrition labels for the sake of the sodium level, but just an FYI here, salt is a lot easier to flush out of your system when you're drinking water, okay? The one ingredient or seasoning / spice that is hard to regulate in your body is going to be sugar, because salt is actually an electrolyte. So as long as you're eating your water and not like heavily pouring salt in your food, you don't really need to worry about sodium, okay? Because sodium is something that we need for our bodies to function. So just remember that. And it's a 0 calorie food. So the only time that you would really need to watch out for this is if you do have like high blood pressure issues, heart issues, things like that. And if somebody, like your doctor, is recommending that you stay away from salt, but the reality is salt can be regulated and balanced as long as you're drinking water. So if you're somebody who's watching this, just know that, because you don't want your food, again, to taste bland because you're not salting it. So that's just a side note for you. We're gonna go ahead and take out our fries. Fries are good. I'm just gonna leave that inside, and I'm going to turn these off because I have a mental note of taking those out. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and get our corn information. Like I said, this is while everything is cooking, and this is going to be a turkey chili. So corn, we've got, so this is where you're learning everything here. Serving size, 1/2 cup. We did the whole thing, 1/2 cup is the serving size, and there are, so this is something people don't really see. So you have your serving size here, and then it has about 3.5 servings per container. So it usually tells you how many servings you have within this one container. But because it's saying about, if you want to get really specific, you can do the 125 grams, because that is 1/2 cup. But we'll just say, for the sake of easiness, 3.5 grams, because in the reality of things, grand scheme of things, it's not gonna teeter-totter your weight a ton if you're over or under just a tad. Servings. So at the end, when it comes to the math part, when you get to it, you have 1.5 cups times 3.5 because of the total servings within the can, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead, we've got fat, 1 gram, carbs, 14 grams, protein, 1 gram. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, this was my unopened can, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this away. We did our black beans, our pinto beans, and then we did our rotel. So now we've got a rotel here. Oops, sorry. We're gonna go ahead and get these. Rotel, 20 calories. We've got 1/2 cup, 2.5 servings. So 1/2 cup times 2.5 servings because we used the whole can. And then fat 0, carb 4, protein 1. Fat 0, carb 4, protein 1. Okay. And then we've got our calories. Awesome. Okay, so half a cup, 2.5 servings. Okay, so now we're done with this. So now we have our pinto beans. Now you don't have to buy fancy pinto beans, no salt pinto beans, things like that. Pinto beans are pinto beans. So we're gonna go ahead and do pinto beans. Calories is 110. For serving size is half a cup. Times there are 3.5 servings in a can. And then we've got fat is 0, carb is 21, protein 7 grams. Okay. And when you look at it, all you're really looking for are the bolded numbers: fat, carbs, protein. Now, the good thing about this is that you do get dietary fiber. Dietary fiber is a carbohydrate, so you don't necessarily have to calculate that. Okay. And the last thing that we have is our black beans, which I threw away. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that can really quick. Thankfully, it was on top, so that makes it easy. There was nothing on this black beans since I just threw it away. So now we have calories is 100, fats 0, carbs 19, protein 7 grams. Now, and this is for half of a cup, and there are 6 times 6 within this, because what we're gonna do is we can once you have your chili, you can kind of like evenly divide your chili, like get the whole grand total and then divide it and then figure out how much a serving of chili would be. Okay, sounds weird, but I'll talk you through it. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and stir our chili. And remember, we do have 4 cups of water in here, so that itself, water is heavy. So it's gonna be something that you're gonna have to account for when you are calculating. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna try this out. Taste the broth at least. Okay, broth is seasoned. Nice. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and remove our fries. And because everything was pretty cooked with the chili, we're gonna go ahead and just stir it and then just let it simmer. So now we've got all of our nutrients. I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on the food so that you guys can see where we are at. Oh, hey y'all, sorry. I did not know that people were actually watching. I was doing this on a whim, so that's awesome. Wait, how do you eat baked beans in USA? I know it's very different from UK. Baked beans. I don't know. I just had pinto beans in mine. Oops, I've got a baby crying, y'all. Give me just a second. Like I said, I'm just gonna put this on mute really quick. We're just gonna hover here for a minute. All right, y'all. So we're letting this simmer. Now I might have to bring in my a little extra helper in just a second. She was okay. We're gonna go ahead and turn this off since everything was this on a low simmer. On low. Just gonna let this simmer for a second. So the idea is, like I said, we're gonna do chili cheese fries, but we have homemade chili. So you've got all these good veggies inside, and then we're gonna put it on top. So what I'm gonna do to make things easier, I'm gonna show you the process of how I would measure things out. And then with this video, once I like make it visible to everyone, I'll have the macro breakdown and I'll make a video for the breakdown so that you can see like how much math goes into macro calculating, okay? So like I was saying a little earlier, it is easier to find videos or find blogs that have their macro countdown already within it, so that you don't have to do all this math, because this is the part that gets tedious for everybody, okay? So even those people that have already broken it down, they've had to do a lot of work to get to where they're at. So I'm going to show you this process here. So we're going to get a large Pyrex bowl. We have our scale here, okay? So Pyrex bowl, we're going to go ahead and put it on, and we're going to zero this out. So we're going to make sure we're in grams because all of our food is counted in grams pretty much. So this is 1,000 grams. So to zero out your scale, you're just going to click the power button again, and now it's 0, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this off of the pan, move this off of the burner. And we're going to try and just get the good stuff, okay, first. So we're going to get all of the food first. Now you're going to definitely get water. And you can, at this point, remove your bowl because it's already weighed out, technically. And we're going to get, to make things easier, a ladle. And then what I'm doing, I'm trying to drain as much water as I can right now because I will store this. But that's just, like I said, I want to make sure I'm getting all the food first before I put the broth in. Okay, getting heavy. Oops, got the big throwing again. So we're not going to get, of course, everything, but we're just trying to get as much as we can. Okay, so we got a pretty good amount of our food. Now this is going to put in, so everything macro-wise isn't going to be measured perfectly just because it's almost impossible to measure everything to the T. So we are doing this as best as we can. So if you look, there's leftover broth. Sorry, please. I'm just going to put another scoop of broth in. So now we're at 1993 grams. I'm just going to go ahead and just make it 2,000 grams. Just for the fun of it. Okay, I went over. Whatever. Okay. So now we're going to do... Okay. So this is our chili. So we've got our chili. Chili total is 2,007 grams. That's how that worked out. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and take this off. So now we've got, now I just want to show you the ending like I said, I'm gonna make the breakdown on the video itself and then do the calculations on a separate video because I just want to show you that you can make a good meal and still have your macros calculated, you know, and it still be good. So we're gonna get a plate. Okay. Also cheese, sour cream because it is chili cheese fries. Okay, and we're gonna get a bowl. So everything you do, you need to measure, or everything you use on the scale has to be measured. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna zero out the bowl to make things easy. So we've got 0 grams starting off with the bowl. We're gonna go ahead and put our fries in here. So you're measuring your fries as you go. So we'll go ahead and do, yeah. It doesn't have to be specific, but let's go ahead and get closer. These measurements, don't have to be super specific because at the end of the day, you're just measuring out. You'll do the math at the end. I usually like to do the math at the end. And baby is taken care of, by the way. I do have my co-pilot now. Okay, so we've got, here are our fries. Now you see the numbers here. So we're gonna go ahead. We've got 84 grams of fries. So we got fries. And this is where MyFitnessPal comes in super handy because it has all of these breakdowns for you. You can even just put in like 83 grams of the Ore-Ida, I don't know how to say the brand, fries. And then it'll calculate that for you. Okay, so you've got your fries here. We're gonna go ahead and get some chili. So go ahead and put some chili on these fries. This is, so you've got your carbs, protein. So with chili added, so now you're at, with chili, is 262 grams, okay? And that's with chili, so there's a difference. Whatever the difference is the total chili you have. Chili, okay? So you've got to find the difference first. Okay, and I'm just showing you this because this is how this all works out. Oops. Sorry, y'all. And then last thing, we're gonna go ahead. We've got our chili here. We're gonna move this. And then we're gonna get our cheese. Sprinkle our cheese on. Now, this is where you would get your nutrition facts, of course, from your, this side from your cheese. So with cheese now, we're gonna put with cheese, because again, we're gonna have to find the difference, is 300 grams total difference. And then we're gonna get sour cream. And of course, again, remember to get the nutrition facts. Again, to make things easy, when you use MyFitnessPal, it'll measure all this out for you. But if you're somebody that's kind of like likes to eyeball things, like I do, then you just, it's good for you to like measure your bowl as you are adding things in. So we're gonna do a nice little scoop of sour cream. And then with sour cream, you've got, with sour cream, 323 grams. And then difference. And then this is what you have total. Now, if you want to add, like, garnish it with green onion, you can. More fiber, totally up to you. It's not going to be a ton of extra calories, but that's just for you to know. But here you go. You have your chili cheese fries. And then you can really mix it up. And then this is something that you and your family can enjoy, like, at home on a cold day. And it's something yummy for everybody, because who doesn't like fries? Honestly, fries are really good. And sour cream and cheese always makes things better. And then you've got your veggies, your protein, your turkey. And there you go. There's your chili cheese. It's a turkey chili cheese bowl with fries. I hope you guys enjoy. And like I said, I'll give you a macro breakdown on the description of the video, and then just make a video for the macro calculations separately. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.